Okay, I just was finishing up with this book here. And so far, you know, it's not a conspiracy theory that he talks about the hierarchy, the Illuminati being responsible behind world affairs, ushering us into their one world socialist government that we're seeing unfolding before our eyes now with this, you know, fake crisis that you know, is partially real, but you know, they've taken it to where they want to take it, to where they can bring in their Agenda 21, all this other stuff. Oh, isn't that great? Well, there's all Freemasons that run Hollywood. Of course, you know, I'll just show you the clip in here where I think it's right here they start shaking their hands and you see all the Mason shakes. Yeah, let me do this real quick. Yeah, it's stupidity, just watch it. Just watch carefully. The dumb lady. Nice to be a part of the mind control cult. I think I got this scene coming up here. Maybe I missed it. Yeah, I'm sure down there, probably Mason shake. But whatever, you can go look up the video. I think I might have missed that scene in there. But there's a scene where they were all crowded, and then the guys were giving each other the handshakes. And he had the handshake where they're putting their thumb on the knuckle, or the lion. I think I saw a lion's grip there. But yeah, you know, nothing to see there. No. So. Okay, so I think yeah. So this is page 67 of Foster Bailey, Changing Esoteric Values, and quote, 1945 was one of the greatest years the hierarchy has ever had. In 1945, it was possible for the Christ to enunciate and use for the first time that great potent mantra, an expression for which we have in what we call the Great Invocation. In a few short years, this invocation has spread all over the world and is now available everywhere in more than 60 languages. There is no spot in the world to which it has not penetrated already. It is used constantly. It is like the voice of humanity itself sounding a new note, a new united worldwide human expression. It is the most potent instrument today that the hierarchy has to us in helping humanity to save itself. Let us consider a little further how the new group of world servers work and how disciples work and how it is that the masters are so skillful in utilizing every possible opportunity, as well as how dependent they are on their disciples. Let us take an actual example in which AAB, Alice Bailey, was the essential focal point. Now, this is according to him. 3 of us met together one day in New York, Mrs. Bailey, a lady from the West Coast, and myself. It seemed to me that as though our souls had picked us up by the scruff of our necks and set us down there in that hotel room and said, "Now think." America was lagging behind and not getting into the war. President Roosevelt was trying to push on and being condemned as a warmonger. We felt that something more must be done. I had made a speech in New York to about 400 esotericists and said I thought America ought to be in the war, and I was received with complete cold silence. We wanted to do something, our friends said. Let's go down to Washington. I think I could arrange so we could see the president. And I said, what will we do when we see him? Mrs. Bailey said, we must have something from the people to express the thing that we know he wants to do. He is in desperate need of support. We must get up a petition. The president needed support from the public, which meant publicity was needed. We decided to get somebody from every state of the Union to fly to Washington and meet there on a certain day and have a meeting and pass a resolution so that it would appear in the papers. We finally ended up with 36 states represented. Some of them came by train, but a great many of them flew. We arrived in Washington, had our meeting, threshed out our resolution, and sent word to the White House. Oh, but I thought that you guys were all peace-loving and end the war. Give peace a chance. Yeah, when it suits your purposes. When you want to use that to, control us. Create a nanny state or whatever. But when it comes to, bringing down nations, bringing the world to a state where you want it, because people aren't going to want your filthy League of Nations that you set up, so you guys do the best you can to try to get America into a war that'll, help bring about the catastrophe that gave birth to the United Nations. Okay? Oh yeah, and what did it say in, Alice Bailey said here. Okay, she's talking about an avatar. Now remember, this is esoteric writing. But if you can read between the lines, if you have common sense, if you know that these people aren't joking and that this is a part of the United Nations, this is, and we think of the concept of order ab chaos, the Hegelian dialectic, and them creating crisis, this ought to raise your ears up a little bit. Talking about the avatars and coming to, she's talking also about the masters too. They come as a Christ or as a group or whatever she says. But anyways, they come in times of crisis. They frequently create crisis in order to bring to an end the old and the undesirable and make way for new and more suitable forms for the evolving life of God immanent in nature. No, I'm not making this up. Of course, they'll say, well, you're just talking about the Christ or avatars, blah, 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 but, we just know that's esoteric bullshit. She's writing the truth in plain sight. The Illuminati frequently create crisis in order to bring to an end the old. 1,000 points of light. Now you have this book here, which, conspiracy theory my ass, Foster Bailey trying to, setting up a meeting with 400 esotericists, trying to get America into World War II, which we know was a fraud set up by the bankers, so they could have their new world order, so they can attempt then and further establish the United Nations. Because the League of Nations was failing, many countries were seeing the fraud that it was, the globalist fraud that it was. So anyways, conspiracy theory my ass. Truth or bomb, right there. We arrived in Washington. Okay, I'm right here. It was really a matter of the will to do something, even though it might not amount to much. We had to take a chance that it might look foolish, but see how that effort was used. We arrived in Washington the day that Japan announced to the world that they had joined the Axis powers. That same morning, a conservative senator got up in Congress and said, quote, "Who are these people, warmongers flying to Washington, trying to get our boys killed in a foreign war?" President Roosevelt heard about it and said he would like to meet these people. There was a cabinet meeting that morning at 9:30 to consider Japan's statement, and at 11 o'clock we all filed into President Roosevelt. I'm thinking that's an error that he wrote there. He said filed. I'm thinking he's meaning fled, but whatever. Filed into President Roosevelt's office in the White House. The editor of a big newspaper on the Pacific Coast read our resolution to the president while he sat behind his desk, and we all stood around. He said, quote, "That is a very good resolution. I'll shake hands with them." And there was publicity about it in the newspapers. The incident illustrates one of the standard practices of the hierarchy. What more fucking clear could you get? Pardon my French. I have people all the time coming to me that there's no documentation of this fucking agenda, and here, right here, this guy's Freemason bragging that the hierarchy influences beyond world affairs, that they were a big part, or I should say they made a big contribution of getting the American support for the war and World War II. And then they turn around with that doublethink and go, well, you know, Lucis Trust is not a big deal. No, Lucis Trust is a great place. It's where they talk about, you know, peace and love of humanity. Oh man. Give me a break, will ya? Whenever the forces of materialism succeed in striking a blow at humanity, the hierarchy always strikes a counterblow. Of itself, it does not make very much difference if a few people went to Washington to submit a resolution, but in this case it was action tuned in with the hierarchy, rightly timed, and could be used. A special channel was created and carried straight to the White House, offsetting the opposite attack. That is an illustration of the way the hierarchy uses disciples in current opportunity. Like that Rahm Emanuel prick said, never let a good crisis go to waste. The hierarchy used him quite a bit. They work in ways that we never think of. Well, ways that I can kind of think of. May not, you know, have it all figured out about them, but I do know that oh yeah, they're good chess players, alright. Alright, and, you know, unfortunately, people need to step off the right wing and the left wing, their right wing and left wing chessboard, and start looking outside of that, because that's an example of a way that they're working in ways that neither the left or the right wing disciples could even imagine or think of. So, yep. They are alert and watching everything that goes on, and they are using every disciple to the uttermost, and many times the disciple does not know he is being used. Yeah, exactly. So, you know, I mean, by God, I mean, I could just put this down right now, and these people who deny have lost their argument. They've lost the argument. The only reason why they've won the argument is because of all the brain-dead sheep out there who don't even know that this material exists. You don't even know that you can prove, there's in their own statements, that there is a conspiracy of these secret societies working to bring about world government. I could just put this down right now, but the only reason why they've won is because they have the cattle, that they call it the cattle, I'm not trying to be mean, and they have their stupid arguments that, well, you're wrong, you know, these new agers are just hippie, you know, groups of love, of people that want love in the world, and people that want peace. Oh, yeah, after the cleansing, and after the massacring of the people who don't support the world socialist government. Yeah. Whenever they get it going. Think what it meant to President Roosevelt and the people around him struggling to line America up with the forces of light when the news breaks that Japan is going in. That decision by Japan sealed the doom of that nation and brought us to Pearl Harbor. Listen to this. For which some of us thanked God, their God Lucifer, that at last America could play its part before it was too late. Do you see their twisted fucking mindset? Pearl Harbor, there's a newspaper that came out that said Pearl Harbor, Japan was warning. Of course, why would they warn? Or, you know, we were warned that Japan was going to strike us. I think like a week or so or something like that. Week, 2 weeks or something. And we just ignored that, you know, warning. Well, that was probably a false flag. But false flag or not false flag, a lot of souls horrifically died that fateful day. And you have this evil jerk here saying that, oh, thank God it happened. Now we can get into the war that'll get the cleansing of the world going so we can bring in our Luciferian world government. It meant a lot. And yeah, it's It's just amazing. Amazing. I have this information, people still deny it. Or people don't bother to come by to listen to these statements or buy the frickin' book. Anyway, sorry I used profanity, but this is irritating when I read it. You know, it's just sick. It's irritating how they just, it's not a conspiracy, it's not secret. It's right frickin' here on the paper. On this book here. And this book, and that book, and this book. What more proof do you people need? My gosh. I'm running out of time a little bit, but I'm pretty cool usually, but I'm just like getting really irritated that people just want to be so cattle-minded. Yeah, there's controlled opposition out there that have, you know, with their bullshit antics, have thrown the whole truth movement under the bus. But that doesn't mean that you can't find truth out there of a conspiracy. I can do it, you can do it. Only if we do our own research, only report the truth. If there's one thing that Bill Cooper talked about that was true, it was that if you want to hurt the enemy, publish only documented facts that are irrefutable. I've listened to him say that, and I have tried my best to follow that advice ever since I heard it. So, yeah, I did some videos on Bill Cooper, but at the same time, Bill Cooper said things that were true. So, do we throw the whole baby out with the bathwater? Or do basically we just discard these truthers, take what they said was true, and then go forward in exposing these people? And maybe we might have a chance against this war that's going on. Not until everybody decides to put out a full effort will this happen. And we need to do nothing but publish documented fact from their own books, from their own writings. We need to be very clear and very smart, and when we're reading this material too, we need to let the people that know that when we're reading this stuff that yes, just like when you read utopian writings or writings of Karl Marx or whatever, yeah, they're gonna, even Hitler, they're gonna say some good things. They're gonna promise some good things. They're gonna say that, well, we're all for love and we're all for this and that. But but in the mix of this writing, they're gonna write, yeah, the World Wars 1 and 2 were cleansings that were great, and yeah, we need to control the population for our own good. We need a benevolent despotism. Look for shit like that, and then then you'll see. Or talking about the spiritual hierarchy of the planet that's controlled, that guides human evolution, works behind the scenes, that creates crisis sometimes in order to bring it into the old and bring in the new, and prove, hey, this is recognized by the United Nations. Why didn't the United Nations just drop this, this group right here, because of this statement right here? They thought that Pearl Harbor was they thank God for that. They thank God for all the deaths that occurred at Pearl Harbor. So we can get into the war. The ends justify the means. I'm sorry, I'm just rambling on here, but I'm just trying to bring home the point. You can read that page. It's just unbelievable. Unbelievable that these people get away with writing things this public. And that they just kind of mock and laugh. Did you see the bottom? I couldn't tell. It's incredible. It's incredible. Whether this guy was a part of the hierarchy or not, he's still an asshole for saying that. It meant a lot to have an expression in the public press just at that moment that there were people who flew to Washington to tell the president we ought to join the Allies. We are beginning to learn a little about the way this new group of world servers works, and we find that the life pulsating in that new group is rhythmic and follows its own pattern, which is a 3-year cycle. The first year of each 3 years includes, let me check the time, Okay, so pretty soon here I gotta hang it up. The first year of each 3 years includes a process of inner reintegration and subjective conditioning and recharging. Said a lot. And subjective conditioning and recharging is subjective stock taking, so to speak, never heard that before, goes on while the outer work also goes forward. This is the time of spiritual maturing and of essential decisions and subjective choices which take place according to the quality aspect of the group life, because they're in a group life, community, which is communist, socialist terms. I don't care, don't listen. Anyways, blah, blah, blah. It is also the time of precipitation of the next bit of the vision for which the group life is ready. The group life, screw the individual. You're part of the masses and need to be controlled for your own good. Well, I made this a little bit short, and I will finish these last few pages. Plus, I'm going to read a little bit some more from others of the Lucis Trust. I'm really going to hit this hard with this organization. But yeah, it's something else that... And by the way, that Brotherhood of Man song, oh, that's real great. Looks like they want to provoke another war, and it's been in the making for quite some time. And that just might be what they're planning on doing right now. It's a letdown that we can't get the people to be thinking people. And to help avoid this, wish we can wake up the people, the mind-controlled slaves in China, and the mind-controlled slaves here and elsewhere. But it didn't happen. World War I didn't happen. World War II, both sides were just puppets of the Illuminati, and there's all that hell that went on there. I just don't want the hell coming here. And this really does upset me. And this is serious, okay? This is serious. I mean, this is the Rosicrucian order, and I've said this, I've recited this quote over and over because, this is the proof right here, Of course, we find that word brotherhood, and brotherhood is a word that they always use. So, the New Age. New Age comes from them. It's not some fringe group started by hippies. This is the age of a new world order, the establishment of brotherhood, and the elimination of all retarding forces. The New Age is upon us. Either we harmonize with it and its laws, or we shall be destroyed by it. That's kind of a threat right there. And yet you got people that say, oh, that's just something that George H.W. Bush spouted off, and it was just a word talking about the coming together of nations, not under United Nations, mind you, but just coming together in a more understanding, blah, 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 whatever they want to bullshit they're spouting off. But no, the term New World Order is derived from the occult secret societies. I think that they were the first ones to coin that phrase. So is Universal Brotherhood, and the concept of world government, at least, is derived from the secret societies. It's derived from occultism. So yeah, that's just it right now. And my God, I wish people would wake up. Have a good one.